Hi, Corey. Thank you for contacting us via AdSkills for a free website and video review. I've had a quick look through your website and some of your competitors, and a couple of points that I thought I'd draw to your attention that you may find useful. I think overall your website's nice. It looks really good. Um, the one thing I would say is, in fact, actually, I'm not on your the page you sent me. So just bear with me. You had a different landing page. Just get your landing page. Sorry. Um, just bear with me 1 second. Your landing page was here. So sorry, this is one you sent. So I do apologize. So yes, it's your landing page. So overall, I think it looks nice. The few things I would point out. I don't know about the get your free valuation. I get what you're saying there. I just wonder whether that could be a bit clearer in terms of that call to action, whether that causes any confusion as to what the free valuation is. Um, you could test different things, maybe get your free training guide or free training assessment or training dog training evaluation, just to clarify that just a little bit more. Um, I would also, what we call above the fold is a bit that people look at, and some people will scroll down further, but some people won't go any further than this bit on the top here. What I would do is I would have some social proof up here. So any reviews, you've got some great reviews, maybe put them up here, or companies you've worked with. If we look at one of your competitors, Taming the Wild, actually that's on his homepage. So let's go to his homepage. He's got some social proof along here, some articles where he's been published. So it gives a bit of credibility straight off in terms of the service you're providing. Um, I think overall it's nice, but I think uh, there's some confusion with this guide here. I mean, it's obviously good to have that guide as well. I think your homepage has a lot better information on than your landing page. I think you've got a great video on your homepage. If you look at your homepage, um, I think this video is great. It explains the video explains you explain more about why it's important to be training from home, which is obviously one of your main sort of selling points. I don't think that's necessarily clear on your landing page. I also think the locations you operate in, you do put on your homepage down here. That could be more prominent, just to sort of make it clear to people who come in. Oh, yes, you operate in my area, and also on your landing page as well. You could, make it more prominent. You might have it further down here. I know you actually even have it on here. The other thing I couldn't find, I was trying to look at your Facebook ads and things. I couldn't actually find a link to your Facebook page on your website. On your homepage, there was a section where it looked like it might have been before, uh, down here, like connect. I don't know whether those buttons have dropped off or there's a reason why. Or I had a look on Facebook. I couldn't actually find your Facebook page. I tried searching under your name. Maybe it's under a different name, or I said I couldn't find it when I looked. I just looking at the notes I've written here. Yeah, I think your lead magnet you've got, which is the training guide, which is great. Um, I think if you put this up above the fold here as well, so it's maybe get your free training guide and an evaluation here. So because some people might come on here, so I don't really want free evaluation, but they might be interested in the free training guide. You could even have two call to actions. You don't want to be too confusing. One is offering the free training guide, so at least you're getting those email addresses of people, and then your free evaluation, possibly as a separate thing. But it's certainly worth. I don't know what your conversion rates are like on this page, but it's probably worth split testing this page and just testing some different elements on there just to see what's working well and what can be improved. The other thing that we find that works well is chatbots, and these can be relatively automated or more manual. It does depend on the business, but yeah, they can increase conversion rates by 2 to 4%, 2 to 4 times. So no, more than 2, 4%, two times or 4 times. It does depend on the business, But some people don't want to call, they don't want to send, fill in forms, send email messages, but they're getting more and more used to using chatbots, and you can probably capture some extra leads by just putting a chatbot on there, and it can be more or less automated, but with options to sort of get involved directly if you wish. The other thing I picked up, which is a little bit concerning, is your page speed. I'm not sure whether you're familiar with the Google Page Speed tool. This measures your page speed of your website. This is important because when you see people arrive on your website, if it takes a while to load, you'll lose people within a couple of seconds. So, and particularly paid traffic, when you pay for people to come onto your page. I don't know what your split is, mobile to desktop, but more and more people are looking at websites on desktop, on mobile. And mobile is very important. It also affects your SEO rankings and the like. So this is out of 100, the score. Yours is 19, which is very low for your mobile. Your desktop's a bit better at 75, but you really want to be in this green area of 90 to 100. That will help your conversions. So that's something you should look at. Often it's to do the way the images are set up and Java code and so on. It's very technical and would need a little bit more investigation. But that's something that I think you should look at as a priority. So when we're looking at a company, we like to look at the funnel first because it's a bit of a cliche, but there's no point pouring water into a leaky bucket. So we want to make sure everything's firing correctly. What I think you might want to look at as well on your website is having a little bit more general content about dog training. I've noticed one of your main competitors, this website isn't as sort of informative, but I mean, it has got some stuff on there. But this one here, this guy's got a lot on his blog. He's ranking quite well organically, which we can have a look at later on. But all this content is useful information, free information, showing your level of expertise that you can use here and on your Facebook and social media, not just for ads, but just providing good information for potential customers. And it helps with the engagement when people come into your site. You might even just run some ads to some of the content, and then you could retarget them. I think you mentioned you hadn't retargeting in your form. If you're not familiar with retargeting, I think it looks like you've got the Facebook pixel on your site, so it's just a matter of running ads to people who visited your site and not inquired, and can be a relatively cost-effective way of getting people back. People might be on your site and being busy and dropped off, so that can be quite powerful. But I would suggest doing content. And when we look at a funnel, we look at the whole, as well as ad skills trained paid media buyers. We're also digital marketer certified partners. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they have the training company Digital Marketer and Traffic and Conversion Summit and so on. And so we're authorized to use their tools and frameworks. And one of the core frameworks we use is the customer value journey. And that looks at the whole process. So it's from the point of awareness, which is your paid traffic, but it's more than that. It's looking at the point that people come onto your website, how they engage with your website, and then getting them to sign up, getting them to opt in, and then leading them through a journey, basically from unaware through 8 stages to being actually sort of raving fans of your business and promoting you to other customers and making them aware. Again, it's a bit long to go into the short video, but something we often look at and work on. And I think that may be missing some of the engagement and content's missing in your part of the value journey, and that would help you, I think, a lot in terms of your customer value journey and your marketing is having more content in there. So then what we looked at, we used a tool called SEMrush. I don't know if you're familiar with SEMrush. It's like all these things. It is a tool. It's not precise. They are estimations. So we had a quick look at your website on here. It looks like you've got some organic traffic in there. Interesting. You mentioned Google Ads. I can see you've been doing some display advertising, but it's not showing any paid search. I don't know whether you're doing paid search at all or not. Maybe the tool's not working 100% correctly. But I think paid search would be a good opportunity for you if you're not doing it already. But there's various stuff in here. It looks at your keywords. We can have a quick look at those. It's a bit slow. It opens up there. It's taking a while to open. I know when I looked at it, it'll open in a minute, but you're not ranking for that many keywords, a particularly high search volume. It's something when you think about it, I mean, you don't really have that much content on your site. So I mean, you've got some stuff here, but on the top page is, page one is fairly minimal. You could look down here. I mean, these are your brands, so they're not so useful, but we would need to dig into this a little bit deeper and see what were high volume and relatively easier to rank by. The green ones are a little bit easier. The red is hard, and so on. But we've got more information on that actually on another page. What we looked at also is your traffic, and we compared it with the competitors you mentioned. You might find this of interest. It's looking at traffic sources. So you've got direct traffic, and you see yours getting quite a lot of traffic from direct. So it's Taming the Wild. It doesn't look like this other website's getting much traffic in total, to be honest. But and then you've got referrals. So Taming the Wild's got a lot of referrals from people, not so much for yourself and the other website. And then search, you're getting a bit of traffic from search. Interestingly, it looks like you're doing quite well in Yahoo rather than Google. And then social, Taming the Wild's got a big social media following. It looks like they might have been running some ads on social media. They've got 120,000 on their Facebook. No paids appearing, 102,000 followers. So here we've got it broken down in a bit more detail. So here's yourself. Yeah, you see you've got direct and Yahoo you seem to be ranking well in, but not in Google. And then Taming the Wild, which is obviously got a big amount of traffic. They've got some coming from Yahoo, YouTube actually, and direct and organic as well actually. So we've got another tool actually that we use in SEMrush, and that's the keyword gap analysis. And this looks at how you're ranking compared with your competitors for various keywords. You've got your website here and your position and your different competitors here and the monthly search volume and the level of difficulty. The higher the score and the closer to red or yellow, the red the harder, the greener the easier. So these are sort of shared keywords. Some of these are quite difficult to rank for. Dog training in Memphis, 700 searches, and that's quite difficult. There is some competition there. But then there are also some, here they would say some untapped keywords. Some that it's slow to load. Some are more relevant than others. You'll see and involve some digging around. I mean, these are probably not so necessarily relevant for you. These are all pulled off a tool and Google searches, but we could do a bit of digging around here and looking to see whether there are any opportunities, sort of relatively high search volume and relatively easier to rank. That said, my initial look at some of the keywords is that it does seem quite competitive for organic ranking, but certainly I think if you start putting content on your website, that'll help your paid traffic and your marketing overall, and that will help you with your organic ranking. And you can also use that informational contact on your social media. And I'll show you a little bit about what I mean. Taming the Wild, this one here, this obviously they're doing quite well their social media, and you see that they got 120,000 on there, and they're putting through a mixture of general training information and some commercial stuff. So what we recommend is with your social media, but also your email marketing. I know you mentioned your email marketing once a week. You don't want to be spending constantly purely commercial stuff through there. Ideally, you want to be spending, maybe once a week, 25% of the time, maybe something commercial, and the rest of the stuff providing really good high value stuff, because people don't want to be bombarded with commercial messages the whole time. So, free tips about training. I'm sure you've got, a lot about the subject. I'm sure you could do some great stuff, free tips that you can use across your marketing. So you can put your various content on your website. You can link to it in your emails or summarize it in your emails and link to it and post it on your social media. So that'll just get traction within itself. There is more you can do in terms of building out links from blogs and so on, and more work along those lines, and then promoting some of that content. So you mentioned, I think you didn't do very well on Facebook, and it might be that you have a strategy of not necessarily promoting on Facebook direct to selling your courses and your evaluation, but you might get people interested in your running some videos you do on dog training or content articles, and then you're sort of getting people who are interested in that subject, and then you can then through Facebook retarget them, those who've interacted with your content, and that's a lot cheaper, and you can target them with an offer. But by that point, they're interested. You're not sort of targeting too broadly on general interests, and it's a lot cheaper to target content on people with content views and video views on Facebook than it is direct conversions. So retarget those people through those who've already interacted with your content, and so you're building out that customer value journey. You're filling in that gap where you're getting that sort of engagement with your customers. We like to sort of compare that customer value journey with a relationship. It's a bit like a marriage. You wouldn't go up to a stranger in the bar and ask them to marry you. And likewise, a lot of people try and sell products straight out the gate with their advertising, and we suggest taking more of a slow, sequential approach. So you start with a bit of free tips or something, or things to avoid, that type of thing. Get them to interact with that, and then maybe try and get them to sign up to your guide. So that might be like going out for coffee or going out for a meal, and then so leading them along a journey where they're getting to know, like you, trust you, have confidence in you, and then selling them later on, and then look at upselling them as well. So I think you've got some upsells, but maybe you can upsell more, increase that value. You've got some good initial purchase, but maybe you can do some other stuff. Maybe you can add to your you've got your in-home visits, but perhaps you could do some training videos, follow-up training videos to help people and to recap on what they've learned and things like that. And you could upsell them. There are probably a range of different possibilities that you might be able to offer. Maybe even online Zoom calls and stuff. Obviously, it's better for what you're doing in house, but just as a sort of a follow-up or question and answer type thing. WhatsApp access to you for questions, that kind of thing. So we look at, when we're selling or marketing, we look at the lifetime value of a customer. So that's not just necessarily purely the first sale. It's how long that person's going to be a customer and how often and how much you sell to them. And you want to make that as high as possible. So you want to make the first order as high as possible. And then you want to, or the total orders as high as possible, certainly, and upsell them, but they get them to buy repeatedly from you and over a long period of time. And so when we look at the cost of our marketing, we look at cost of acquisition. It might be sometimes, depending on the product and the business, it might be you break even or run at a loss acquiring a customer, but provided over the lifetime of the customer you're making money, you're in money. And a lot of it, people talk about the person who can spend the most to acquire a customer wins the game. It is becoming more expensive, paid traffic, particularly lockdown and so on. It's dropped off a bit, but it's still quite expensive running ads. So those who can get the most value out of their customer, most lifetime value, and keep an eye on advertising and acquiring customers at a higher price, will be able to outbid their competitors and maintain that. So that's certainly something to think about in terms of when you're evaluating your advertising spend versus the value that it's giving to you. So I think those are sort of main areas. But so in summary, I think look at your funnel, your website, get that firing best. The page speed. I think if we were to work with you, what might be useful to look at your customer value journey and draw out a full marketing plan and look at optimizing that. We could look at some metrics to look at targets and things on that. And then running traffic. So you mentioned Google Ads. I'm not clear which ones you're running. It'd be interesting to know what you're actually doing, because it didn't show any paid ads on the tool I use, but sometimes it doesn't work properly. But certainly I think Google Search is an opportunity. It looks like you've done display. That is interesting. Normally people tend to sort of master search first before going into display. But certainly I think you could do quite a lot more of your content in your business. A lot of great content you can put out. So using that content to improve your paid and organic rankings, possibly some linking from blogs and so on to improve the authority of your website, and maybe looking at the sort of on-site SEO of your website, making sure that's all set up properly. So I hope that's hopeful. If you would like to discuss it further, please do book a call with me. Happy to go through on a Zoom call and discuss this in more detail. Thanks for your time.